Welcome to part 14 of half bath to full bath conversion. I'm going to start out on this part, caulking the ceiling to the wall, small bead of caulking, painter's caulking along the corner here. We'll finish that off nicely. Then I'll come back with my finger and wipe it down, push it in the corner, and get a nice crisp corner ready to paint. Then I'll move over to the shower. I like to caulk along the shower, all along the corners, all along the top, and all the edges with painter's caulk. Gives it a nice finished edge. Then I can move to my baseboards. I'm going to include a link on how to cut baseboard corners in the video for you, but I'll just go through and nail all my baseboards in, and I'm using a finish nailer on the majority of the pieces, and then the small pieces I'll use a brad nailer. This is a little bit smaller nail so it doesn't split the base molding out, and then I'll go ahead and trim some of the corners with the brad nailer, and we'll go inside the bathroom. And before I put the toilet on, I like to put the molding in a little bit easier than doing it with the toilet in the way. Since I'm reusing the previous baseboards, I was able to line up the baseboard with the doorstop, and it lined up perfectly with the location where I wanted it to for the doorstop. Use my brad nail on the small part, and then I'll come back around the whole area with my painter's caulk, and I'll caulk the base molding to the wall, and any extra caulking that I wipe off with my finger I'll work in some of the nail holes and any of the other cracks around the corners that I might see, and just give it a nice wipe down with my finger to get a nice crisp edge ready for paint. Fill in all the nail holes again, and then I'll come back with a damp rag and wipe down the whole baseboard to get it nice and ready to paint. This gives it a nice finished look when you put the caulking up against the wall from the baseboard. Any of the gaps where the wall is uneven are filled in, and again I just wipe it down when I'm done. Make sure I get this corner real good here. And I'll move around to the opposite wall and fill in that area with some caulking. Go ahead and get this wall as well. Fill in all my seams. And then I can come back and wipe down the area. And then normally I would paint this prior to putting on the baseboard. However, the homeowner wants to do the painting, so they wanted me to go ahead and put the baseboard on so I didn't have to come back another time. But normally I'd paint the baseboard and paint the wall and then put the baseboard up and then do my caulking afterwards, and then do any touch up on the nail holes. But like I said, the homeowner wanted to do the painting, so that's why I'm doing it in this order. Alright, I'm going to start putting some finishing touches on. I got these brand new escutcheon plates. They're split, so I can just put them right over the pipe, push it up against the wall, and that'll give me a nice new finished look. Then I'll also go into the vanity, do the same thing here, split the escutcheon plate, put it over the pipe, push it up against the wall on both the hot and the cold. And then we can start installing the toilet. So I'm going to take off my cover that I had put on there while I was doing all the work. Set that off to the side, and I've got the reusable wax ring that I can slide down over my bolts, get that in place, and bring the toilet over, set it on top of the wax ring, line up the mounting bolts. Once I get those lined up, I want to adjust my toilet, make sure it's square with the wall. Then I can put my cap washer on, then the metal washer, and then I put the nut on afterwards. And the same thing on the other side. Then I'll use an adjustable wrench. You can use a socket on this, but I go back and forth from side to side so that I don't get one side tighter than the other. And this one's pretty level, but sometimes you have to use a shim or two underneath the toilet. But this one's level, so I don't need to use any shims on this one. So I want to make sure I get it tight enough, but you got to be careful not to get too tight to crack the toilet. I'll put my cap covers on, and then I can put my supply line on and turn the water on, let it fill up the tank, make sure the flapper's in place, and there we go. We've got the toilet on, so I can start putting the shower back together. I've got my square cover, take the round one out that came with it, put that in. Then I'm going to start putting the shower valve together. I've got my cover plate here, and I'll put the screws in. And the screws are pretty long, so I will alternate back and forth between the two so that I have even pressure on my cover plate, just until it gets tight enough, and make sure that it's even. And that's pretty tight. Next, I'm going to put the scald guard on, and that just prevents too much hot water from going in the mixing valve and letting the water get too hot, and that'll have to be adjusted. But I like to put that on and then put the handle on and rotate the handle around to see how far it goes, and that can be adjusted once I get the shower back together. So I'll put my screw in the center just to hold my place on the scald guard, but I'm not going to put the handle on. I can start on the shower now, so I'll take off my temporary shower arm. Just had that on there so that I could test the plumbing. Take that off, and I'll put some Teflon tape on my new shower arm. Wrap it around there a few times, and put my escutcheon plate on, and then I can screw it into my drop ear piece in the wall. I've got that mounted in the wall pretty good, so I can get this shower arm really tight. And I'll spin it around by hand till it gets real tight, and then I've got an old pair of channel locks that I can put into the shower arm and tighten it the rest of the way. That way I'm not scraping the outside with the teeth of the channel locks. Put a little Teflon tape before I put the shower head on, and then tighten that down with an adjustable wrench on the flats of the shower head. So I've tested the temperature of the water, and I have my scald guard set to where I want it. I can now put the shower handle on, and there's just one little set screw on the bottom that screws into the faucet, and that gets tightened up. Once we get that, we can take a look at the project here. Walk through the project. You can see how it used to look on the right, and now on the left it's all opened up. Got rid of that pantry, opened up that area, took this wall here all the way out, and you can see the bathroom as we go inside. Move the toilet over, added a shower, and this is what we've come up with on the finished project. Go outside the kitchen area, and you can see how open the area is from the kitchen all the way to the front of the house. All that's left to do is for the homeowner to paint. And this is half bath to full bath conversion. If you've watched the whole series, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button. We'll be coming out with more videos like this. If you like those, make sure you hit the bell icon to get all the updates. I'm How To Bob. As always, thanks for watching.